everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, my name's Alexa Ray, and welcome to another video. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad you clicked on today's video. And by the title of today's video, you already know what we are doing. We are doing one of my favorite types of videos today, and that is reading for 24 hours. I do these types of videos all the time on my channel, mainly because it helps me tackle my monthly TBRs. They're also just super fun for me. I really love binge reading, which I feel like sounds kind of weird, but it's kind of relaxing to me. I don't know why. And it either goes one of two ways. I either get into a massive reading slump after these types of videos. I think my last 24-hour readathon, I think, put me into like a minor slump because I'm pretty sure I read like a ton of 2- and 3-star reads during that vlog. It kind of put me into a slump. But most of the time, these types of videos just like really get me going and motivate me to read more during the month. And March was actually the month I read the most books in last year, so I'm kind of hopeful that this year March will also be a huge reading month for me. I really want to push myself to read over my TBR. I'm just very hopeful for the month of March. But for today's video, I'm going to be reading for 24 hours, not straight. So usually that includes some breaks to eat and do other stuff. I like to alternate between both styles. I love trying to read for 24 hours straight, but I also like doing these types of videos where I'm reading for a 24-hour period to kind of push myself, test myself, see how many books I can actually read. I am very excited for today's video. I have picked out some very exciting books. These are all books that are on my March TBR. So you guys already know the routine. We're gonna start a timer on my phone when I start reading. Every time I stop reading to take a break, go to sleep, stuff like that. We're gonna stop the timer, and then when I pick up a book again, we'll start it and we'll just keep on going. But that's what we're going to be doing today. I am going to stop rambling because I feel like I've been literally rambling for a half hour now. It's really only been 10 minutes, but without further ado, let's hop in to the reading vlog. Before we hop into the video, I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Webnovel. If you're not familiar, Webnovel is a global online reading platform for all kinds of novels and comics. They have over 100,000 authors as well as over 200,000 original stories. A book I've been reading this month is Shadow Slave by Guilty 3. I'll put it right here for you guys. This tells the story of Sunny, who is living in poverty until the nightmare spell chooses him, and he is then gifted these supernatural powers. The story immerses you into a ruined magical world where Sunny finds himself facing off against terrible monsters and other awakened in hopes that he won't become a monster himself. The craziest part of it though is that his divine power possesses a small but potentially fatal side effect. Sunny is also a very realistic, relatable character. He wins in these battles with a mix of techniques, strategies, and cunning methods, which means it's also very action-packed. There's a lot of combat within the dream realm. I think it's in chapter 7 when Sunny uses like this really heavy wagon, and he uses it as a pulley to basically push the tyrant off a cliff. And then actually, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. You'll just have to read it on Webnovel to find out what happens. If you're interested in reading this story as well, or if you just want to check out the many other amazing reads, we're talking hundreds and thousands of original works. You can use the link in my description box to check out the Webnovel website for yourself. But thank you so much again to Webnovel for sponsoring today's video, and without further ado, let's jump into the reading vlog. The first book I'm going to start off with is Scarred by Emily McIntyre. This is an Ever After novel, and it's a Lion King reimagining. These books are dark romances, and they mostly revolve around the villains of these stories. There's just something so exciting about the villain being the main character in these stories, and the villain actually getting the girl in these stories. I don't know what it is. I never thought I'd be rooting for the villains in these books because growing up watching Peter Pan, watching The Lion King, we don't like Captain Hook, we don't like Scar, so it's very weird and it kind of trips me up sometimes when reading. Hooked is one of my favorite books of 2023. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with James, and that entire story was just incredible. I thought it was such a good introduction into the dark romance genre, so I thought we'd start today's vlog off strong and start with Scarred. So many people say that this is like their favorite book out of the entire series. Once upon a time, there was a king who passed. He left behind 2 sons, one beloved and one outcast. The older of the 2 was set to take the throne, but before he could, he had to find a queen to call his own. The younger one was known to be unruly and unhinged. The chosen queen was warned to keep far away from him. Beautiful and cunning, and the light is where she stayed, but late at night it was the shadowed lands in which she played. Mistakes were made and secrets forged, forgetting duty and her scent. And while the new king had her hand, her heart belonged to the scarred prince. literally already in love with it. So we have a royalty romance, we have a forbidden love, we have a bit of a love triangle, maybe, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Possibly a bit of enemies to lovers, but I am going to start the timer and we're gonna hop right into it. Okay guys, so we have been reading for a little bit over 2 hours now. We've made a pretty big dent. I'm on chapter 23. Definitely a little bit of enemies to lovers in here, and I am here for it. That's one of my favorite tropes to read about. I just love when two people despise each other so much and then they realize they're just madly in love with each other. It's just my favorite trope. I love Tristan's character so far. He is the scarred prince. He's kind of, I guess you could almost say, like the outcast, and he's also a bit scary and a lot of people fear him. We also meet Michael, who is Tristan's older brother. He is the king and he is essentially going to marry Sarah B, who is the main girl protagonist in the story. Michael kind of comes across not like my favorite. He just kind of seems like a really big jerk, just not a nice person. Sarah B also seems to have her own intentions with the crown and with Michael, so that's also a little bit of a twist in the story that I wasn't expecting. So far I am picking up on some Lion King references. Tristan and Michael's last name I believe is Fasa, like Mufasa from the Lion King, which I thought was really cool. There's a little bit of enemies to lovers going on between Tristan and Sarah B, but the way Emily McIntyre writes these villains, I feel like a bad person for loving them so much. Tristan's character is so interesting and so different. Has a little bit of a dark side to him, a bad side to him. Nonetheless, I am literally falling in love with him, so I don't even know what to say because I just love these books so much. And I feel like whenever I talk about them, all I say is, oh, I love this book, or it's so good. I feel like I never have anything new to say. I genuinely am loving this book right now. We are about to wrap it up. I read a big chunk last night. Time got away from me and I wound up staying up so late. I wound up staying up till 3 or 4 a.m. I just totally lost track of time reading. This book just really sucked me in and I just love it so much. Literally just underlined so much. Probably some of my favorite quotes ever are coming out of this book. I am in all the feels right now. I am obsessed with Tristan's character. I love Sarah B. Sarah B is such a badass. I think it's time that we finally find a book with an amazing heroine in it. This is it. This is the book. I love her so much with Tristan. They're literally so cute. Just want to share everything I just underlined, but I can't because I don't want to spoil it for you guys in case you guys haven't read this book and you want to read it. These books are so interesting to me because they're stories I literally grew up loving as a kid, and now reading them from like the villain's point of view, it's just so good and it's so different. I don't know. I can already tell this is going to be a 5-star read, honestly, and I'm really happy we chose it to start this video off because now I'm just super amped and pumped to keep going. Something about the dark romance genre is really getting to me, guys. I never thought it would. I never thought I'd be a dark romance girly. I think your girl's going over to the dark side, and I'm kind of excited about it. Okay guys, so I have no words. I already said it, but 5 stars across the board. This book was absolutely amazing. I loved Hooked. I knew I was gonna love this book just as much. If I had to choose between the two, I I feel like this one would be above hooked for me just because of the enemies to lovers. I also really like the slow burn in this story. I thought it was the perfect amount. Like sometimes slow burns in stories are just too drawn out for me and I don't usually like them, but I really liked it in this one. Tristan and Sarah B. Chef's kiss. Sarah B is the perfect heroine. Tristan is badass, but also like a soft spot for the right girl, which I absolutely love. Also, some of my favorite quotes came out of this book. I'm going to be thinking about this book for a very long time. 5-star read. I absolutely loved it. Highly recommend if you're into fairy tales, Disney movies. It's a Lion King reimagining. The next book I picked up for us to read is Throttled. It's the first book in the Dirty Air series and it's by Lauren Asher. This series, this author, I feel like is so hyped up all over the internet. I've seen so much about her on YouTube, Instagram, Book Talk, and I actually picked up the entire Dirty Air series like last year, but I never read it. So I thought it'd be a great book to start today. I also have her Dreamland Billionaire series, which I hear is incredible. Just because I've had the Dirty Air series longer, I thought we would start with this one today. This is about F1 racers and I've never read anything about F1 racing. It's gonna be super new to me, super fun. I'm really excited to try it out. Something I noticed right away is just the little details in this book. I love when books have details like that. These are new edition covers as well. I think the old ones had real people on it, so I'm really happy I was able to get my hands on the new edition ones because you guys already know real people on book covers are kind of cringy to me. Anyways, this is about like an all-star F1 driver. His name's Noah Slade. I guess he's like the bad boy in F1 racing. He just doesn't care about anyone else. He's just focused on himself, his racing, his career, stuff like that. Enter Maya, who is the little sister to Noah's like nemesis? F1 enemy? I don't even know really. I just know that Noah and Maya's brother don't get along. Somewhere along the way, Maya and Noah meet and they spark up a little romance and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of drama around that. Noah Slade is a Formula One legend in the making. Focused, unapproachable, ruthless on and off the track. A man with walls higher than the Grand Canyon and my brother's new teammate. I want more of the prince who disguises himself as the villain, but while I crave a happy ending, he wants to destroy his. Maya Alator is a forbidden temptation, an ambitious postgrad I should stay far away from, and chaos wrapped with a bow. We're a ticking time bomb, about one wrong move away from exploding. I want to trip the wire, detonating together in passion and pain, because in the end, all's fair in lust and war. Again, I've never read anything about Formula One, and I don't know too much about it, so bear with me while we read this book. I'm really excited for this trope though, that it's going to be like brother's enemy love trope. I don't even know if that's a love trope or what to call it, but we're gonna jump right into it. One of my favorite parts about books, I say this all the time, but it's always the little author's note in the beginning. It's always so funny. The note in this says, "Mom, thank you for everything, including the holy water you'll bathe me in after you read this book." I absolutely love that, and I feel like it's setting the book up for success with me. We just crossed the 10-hour mark. I'm so happy right now because I'm really enjoying this book and I'm so happy that we are reading good books in today's vlog. I'm on chapter 17. We're like almost halfway through the book. I can definitely see the hype around Noah Slade. I think his character is like the perfect amount of charming and bad boy. He's definitely got a little soft spot for Maya, which I really love. Their relationship is definitely complicated. Maya's brother too is very overprotective of Maya, and he basically is telling her to stay away from all of the F1 drivers, but so far so good. I'm really enjoying it. It's a really easy read. We've also met other F1 drivers and we've also met other girls, and I believe these drivers that we're meeting in this book are what the other books of the series are about, and I'm really excited about it. I'm pretty sure book 2 is about Sophie and Liam, who is another F1 driver. So far I'm really loving their whole dynamic. We also meet Jax, who is another another F1 driver, and he's British, and I guess he's like covered in tattoos, and his character is really sweet. He's really funny. It's like a teeny bit cheesy for me. Like there's just certain things that Noah says and I'm just like, you did not just say that. So yeah, there's just some like corny little pickup lines in this book, but nonetheless, it's absolutely adorable. I think this is such a cute read. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the gym right now because I just need to get my body moving. I need to do something to boost my mood because this weather just isn't doing it for me. But I think I'm gonna listen to it while we're at the gym. I don't really know how it works because I feel like listening to an audiobook kind of messes up the whole point of this video, seeing how fast I can read. What I'm gonna do is I am gonna try and put it at like my normal reading pace. Okay guys, it's a little bit later and I just finished up Throttled by Lauren Asher. Sometimes I read really popular books and I don't like have the same opinions as everyone else does, and I don't know, it just like makes me nervous sometimes. But we wrapped this book up. I thought it was overall a really cute read. I thought Noah and Maya were super cute together. I thought the character development was super cute. I have to say, I think it was a very predictable read. It was very cheesy at times. Usually I really like cheesy reads, so that wasn't even a problem. I feel like I've just really matured as a reader over the past year, and I feel like a year ago I would have been obsessed with this book and it would have easily been a 5-star read for me. I am only giving this a 3-star rating just because it's not a book or a storyline that's going to be in the back of my mind. Like I probably won't think about this story often. I probably won't think about these characters often. Don't come for me. It was very cute and I enjoyed it. I thought Noah and Maya were absolutely adorable. I love the side characters. Will I continue on with the series? Of course. I've heard so many people say that the more you go with the series, it just gets better and better. I'm definitely going to keep moving on with the series, and I'm definitely going to read more Lauren Asher books because I thought her writing style was super easygoing. It was a fast-paced read. It wasn't anything like too complicated or confusing for me, so I'll definitely read more of her books in the future. Just for this one and it being my first book by her, I have to give it 3 stars because it's just not a book that was like life-changing for me. Nonetheless, it was an adorable story. I highly recommend. I can definitely see the hype behind the story. You can see the hype behind Lauren Asher because again, I think her writing style is like super easygoing and super fast-paced. So we are at the 13-hour mark, and the next book I'm actually going to pick up is Ricochet. This is by Krista and Becca Ritchie, and it's the second book in the Addicted series. I read book 1 at the end of February, and I have very mixed feelings about it still. This series is so hyped up. It's like some people's all-time favorite series. It's like the best romance series. Literally everyone I've ever met has raved about the Addicted series, and I read book 1. I enjoyed it to an extent. It wasn't like my favorite book ever. A lot of people had told me that it's kind of just like an intro to the world and the characters, and as you go on, of course, the books get better and better. So I thought we'd pick up Ricochet today. It's a very short book. Kind of feels like a novella. This book picks up immediately after the first one, and we're kind of watching Lily and Lo navigate their new relationship, their new terms, and their new lives, because at the end of book 1 a lot changes for them very, very fast. I think this book is all about them kind of navigating it and adjusting to their new lives. It's also a friends to lovers trope, and if you know me, if you've been around on my channel for a little bit, friends to lovers is like my least favorite trope when it comes to reading and it comes to romance, just because I feel like it's such a normal trope. It's nothing really too exciting, and it's something we see like in our everyday life, so I can see why people love that trope because it's more realistic. But for myself personally, as a reader, I love enemies to lovers. I love fake dating. I have to say, reading book 1, I did enjoy the romance in it. It was like the other stuff that kind of caught me off guard. But I'm gonna stop rambling. We're gonna hop right into this and see what it's all about. Long time no talk, guys. It's been a hot minute since I last vlogged, and a lot has happened. So I'm going to do a quick little recap for you because I actually finished Ricochet. I actually finished Destroy Me, which is the first novella in Unite Me. I have been absent for the last like 2 days because I don't actually have a reason or an excuse for why I haven't vlogged. I think for like a hot minute I forgot I was doing this video. So I finished Ricochet and I finished the first novella in Unite Me. I am going to be starting Unravel Me, which is book 2 in the Shatter Me series. We're going to talk about this in a second because we have 2 books to talk about. Ricochet by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I really liked this one. I rated this 4 stars, which is pretty cool because I rated Addicted to Me 3 stars. So we went up a whole star for book 2. It was very, very short. And like I had mentioned earlier, it was just kind of us getting a look into Lily and Lo's life, them navigating their lives after the first book, after the massive changes that had taken place. I really, really enjoyed this. This book focused more so on Lily's story and on her addiction, which I thought was really interesting. And we also get to see Reich and Daisy kind of in action. I know they are a couple from the Calloway sister series. I hear so many good things about them, like they are some people's favorite couple in this series. We also get to see Rose and Connor again. I absolutely love their characters, and when I read the first book in the series, I talked about Rose and Connor a ton because I was more invested in their relationship, I guess you could say, than Lily and Lo's, and I can't wait to get to the Calloway sister series because I can't wait to read about the other sisters, the other boys, their relationships, and their stories just intrigue me so much. And I am starting to kind of get a feel for Lily and Lo. Like I said, this one was more so about Lily. We kind of took a step back from Lo's story, but I do hear in the 3rd book, which is Addicted for Now, it gets way better. A lot of people say that they fell in love with Lily and Lo during book 3, so I'm happy we finally got this one out of the way so I can get into book 3. But nonetheless, I rated this 4 stars mainly because I was just really into Rose and Connor, Daisy and Reich. Lily's character still kind of annoyed me. She just annoys me, but I have to say I am really proud of her character for staying true to herself and staying true to Lo. I think we are starting to see character growth in this one. This was a 4-star read, definitely better than the first book for me, and definitely gets me excited for book 3. And then we read Destroy Me, which is the first novella in Unite Me. We basically see Warner's point of view from the end of book 1 into book 2, and it was very, very interesting. It was not what I expected, but it was really cool to see what was going on through Warner's eyes and get a feeling for who he is as a person, because in the first one I was really confused about Warner's character. I couldn't tell if he was a good guy, if he was a bad guy, should I like him, should I not like him, and then everyone literally flooded my comments on that video and was like, Team Warner, I love Warner, he's the best. I thought that was so funny, but also really confusing because I finished Shatter Me loving Adam, and you guys were all telling me that you were Team Warner, and it totally caught me off guard because I didn't really consider Warner an option at the end of Shatter Me. I have to say, after reading Destroy Me, I can definitely see it now. I can definitely see there's gonna be a huge plot twist in the story, and I know it's gonna be between Warner and Juliet. It makes me really excited to get into this one. I rated it 3 stars only just because it is a novella, so I feel like novellas are novellas, you know what I mean? I feel like it's very rare for me to rate a novella like anything higher than 3 stars because it's such a short story. I gave it 3 stars. I liked getting an insight into Warner's character. At some points, he just kind of was like, this kind of whiny. I am so excited to see what happens with Juliet in the reestablishment, what happens with her at Omega Point, what happens with Adam and Kenji and just everyone involved in this story. We are looking at 460 pages, but the words on these pages are really, really big, and there's not a lot of them, so I can't imagine it's gonna take us that long to read this. When I read the first book, I read it so fast. I think I read it within like a couple hours, so we are gonna jump right into this, and then when we finish this one, we're immediately gonna jump in to Fracture Me, and this is the 2nd novella in this book, and it's told from Adam's point of view, and I'm really, really nervous because literally it says that Warner refuses to let her go and Adam will do anything to get her back. I'm sorry, does Adam lose her? Does he lose Juliet? Sometimes I feel like the backs of books are like total giveaways and spoilers, but anyways, we're gonna jump right into this.
too long, but I don't wanna come down.
We are about to hit the 21-hour mark. We should be able to finish it up like within the next few hours, and I'll probably have to read the novella passing the 24-hour mark. I just hit chapter 35 and Juliet is seeing Warner for the first time again since everything that happened in the last book. I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like her seeing him for the first time right now, it just seems different. Like she seems like she has different feelings towards him, and it's kind of throwing me off because I feel like in the first book she did not like him. Castle is also giving me really weird vibes. I know he's like trying to help Juliet. He just kind of seems like a jerk sometimes. There's also a lot going on with Adam, and I didn't see it coming in book 1. At the beginning of this book, I kind of got this weird vibe from Adam. He was acting really weird, kind of sad with how the story is going. Anyways, we're halfway through the book. I'm excited to keep going, and I'm excited to get to book 3, which is Ignite Me, because everyone says that is their favorite book in the series. The biggest plot twist happens in that one, so I just can't wait to get to that one. But we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna stop rambling, and we're gonna see what happens. I feel like we haven't actually been reading for 24 hours. The vibes are weird. We have finally hit the 24-hour mark. We are not done just yet because I actually have another like 20 pages of Unravel Me. I'm on chapter 69. I'm so close to being done with this book. And then after this one, I do want to quickly read Fracture Me because I just want to read Adam's point of view from like what's going on in this story, because what's going on in this book right now is not what I thought was going to happen. Don't even know what to say right now because I'm still trying to like process everything that's happened in these last few chapters, and I don't know what's gonna happen. There's like this little chunk left that we have to read, and there's no way that they can wrap up this story in just these few pages. So I feel like it's definitely going to leave off on another cliffhanger, and I'm probably going to have to go to the bookstore tomorrow to buy Ignite Me because I'm not going to be able to wait to see what happens. I'm already going to predict that this is going to be another 5-star read for me because that's how much I'm loving it. We're gonna wrap up these 2 stories and then review them, talk about them, process them, because this book is literally insane right now. I'm actually really tired. So many mixed feelings right now. So crazy how much has changed since book 1. Of course, I was right. It's a 5-star read. If you haven't read this series yet, please pick it up. It's absolutely amazing. I am so obsessed with these characters in this storyline. Like, I cannot wait to see what happens. 5 stars across the board. One of my favorite reads ever. One of my favorite series ever. If you take one thing away from this video, this series is incredible. I'm obsessed with it. On to the novella. We read Fracture Me, and it was very short, shorter than Destroy Me. I rated it 2 stars. It was from Adam's point of view, and I liked this story to an extent. It just got to a point where I was really frustrated with him. Like, I don't blame him for the things he did, because any person would do what he did. It was just like after the fact, like he chose to do nothing, and I feel like he should have done something. It's so hard because I don't want to spoil it because it's such a good series and I really want you guys to read it if you haven't read it already. It was like my least favorite, but again, it's a novella, so take it with a grain of salt. I'm so confused and I don't understand why books and authors do this to us. Like, why do they confuse us about the people we like most, and why do they take people we like and then make them people we don't like? That happened. That is it for our 24-hour reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. That was very crazy, and it doesn't seem like we were actually reading for 24 hours. We actually were reading for over 24 hours because I ended 24 hours when we were still reading Unravel Me, and we read a novella afterwards. So we'll say like 25 hours for funsies. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you had fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in today's video. It was super fun. We read so many amazing books. Like, I am so happy and I'm so proud because first of all, we tackled a lot of books on my TBR list, but we also had 2 5-star reads. Make sure to comment down below if you saw any books in today's video that you have read already. Let me know what you thought about them, if you liked them, if you didn't like them. And with all that being said, that's basically it for today's video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, your night, and I'll see you in my next video.